Kei aku nui, kei aku rahi, kei aku whakatamaraki ki te rangi, kei aku whakatei, kei ki te whenua tēnā koutou. Ki ngā kaiporero i tuinui ahau, tēnā kōrua. Ki a koe Chris, nā hau te reo karanga, te reo pōhiri, ki a tuinua i te aro tangata, tēnā koe. O tinoa ki a koe te kaiwhakarite e mihi ana. Yes, so that's me, I'm Junior Tana. What do you want to know about me? I'm Ngāpuhi, Ngāti Hine and Ngāti Kahu. They are 3 of the 5 iwi that come from north of Auckland. I am a father of 2.5 children. The half will be born on January the 6th, according to the doctor. I grew up in the hood in Christchurch. Rowley, anybody that knows Rowley, the coolest hood at that time. I am currently working at the Department of Corrections, but I've spent all my life, my working life and my student life in education. Right, mā pango mā whiro ka oti ai te mahi. I thought, because I'm the Māori guy, hopefully not token, I would drop a Māori whakataiki because that's what we do. So mā pango mā whiro talks about the colours. If you've ever been into a marae, hand up if you've been to a marae, good choice. Those kōwhaiwhai patterns on the ceiling, which is the rib cage of the top, you can see the red, black and white designs and motifs. They're called kōwhaiwhai, and it's kind of just painting this picture about working together. And there's that diversity there. So it could be leaders and followers, it could be men and women, it could be cool people and not cool people, whatever it is. Red and white works well when you work together. Come on. So just to explain a little bit about what I've been up to. So I've only been in corrections for 1 year, just over 1 year. And like I said, I had come from the education sector. I was a teacher, well, a student first, then a teacher, then a lecturer, and then an advisor in tertiary and secondary education. And now I'm an advisor for the Department of Corrections. And this is what's happening in our department at this stage. Although Māori are 15% of New Zealand's population, we make up 51% of the prison population and those that are under the care of corrections in the community. 51% is when we shoot low. People that really want to push a point will push the 60% statistics and the 56% statistics, which are the heights that it gets to depending on the current muster. Down here we see that 63% of women in prison are Māori. Up the top there we can see that we only have 22% of our staff who affiliate as Māori. So there's a school of thought out there that thinks any successful organisation will represent the people that it serves, and obviously in this case we're not quite doing that. In the South Island it's only 7%, so it's 22% across the country, but it's 7% in the South Island. Down there we can also see there's some youth statistics, so 61% of youth in prison are Māori and 42% of youth that are on community sentences are Māori. Right, so what's happening? Why is that the case? And loved the little segue on unconscious bias earlier. I'm going to pick up on that. So if you're Māori, you're 2 times more likely to be stopped in the street. You're 4 times more likely to, any guesses? 4 times more likely to be arrested, 6 times more likely to be charged, convicted, yes. And what's the next number? You want to say 8, but it's not, it's 10. 10 times more likely to receive a prison-based sentence. So that's what happens in our cool department. What's happening there? Some people would call it racism, some people will call it structural discrimination, some people will call it cultural bias, some people will call it unconscious bias. I don't know which of those reasons we're using to rationalise our behaviour, but it's happening. And I'm being charged with trying to evolve the current culture to a better place. So te aronga, that means what we focus on. What's the focus? Yeah. So if we think that 50% of that target is Māori, it's actually over 50%, I said that, but 50% is the nice version, then what do we focus on with our services? Any guesses? I'll let you answer that in your head. What do you think we are focusing our services on?
Who's we?
We, corrections, us, the community perhaps, justice as a broader sector. So one of the kind of key things that I've been charged with is holding various people in important positions accountable around how they are funding programs that are appropriate for the people that consume our services, and enlightening on us on what it is that we have been spending our money on, and why it is that 30 years down the track we see no changes in statistics around Māori. Yeah? When an organisation is 50% Māori, then Māori are the mainstream. Yeah? It is a Māori organisation by default. It's not the type of Māori organisation I want to be involved in, but it is one. Some of the things that we talk about, I stole this from my education life, but culturally responsive, being culturally responsive, cultural responsivity. Where do you think we might be? I spend most of my time in prejudice reduction and knowledge construction. Yeah, so we're talking about the glasses. Me and this lovely lady Erica, we probably have a different upbringing. We can accept that. Yeah, I probably have values, beliefs, and worldviews that were implanted, fed and watered over a long period of time by my aunts and uncles and cousins and mum and dad and grandparents and friends. And that probably happened to her. So for us to accept that our worldviews, beliefs and values might be different is kind of acceptable, yeah? When we think about who fed those values and worldviews and beliefs into us as individuals, we can then establish that there is a such thing as a collective worldview, or a collective belief system, or a collective value system. Now, when I put my value system glasses on, then when I judge the world, I'm looking at everything through this filter, through these glasses that I inherited from my context, because I'm a product of my influences. And then I'm trying to judge somebody else, unfortunately that's what we do, we judge, with this lens on. Cultural responsivity is doing this, and understanding what's going on over there. And like I said, we're in prejudice reduction and knowledge construction, unfortunately. Another great conversation is this, equality versus equity. So we have a lot of people in the department struggling with why anybody should get anything different to anybody else. Yeah, so equality is the thought that everybody should get the same, regardless. Everybody gets the same crate. Yeah, and over here on the equity side is we provide people with what they need to be successful, and that may differ depending on who we're working with. And then we kind of highlight the point, look, this little man over here who can't see the game. So we just keep giving him the same service or the same resources, and we already know that he's not going to watch the game, and then we'll punish him for not watching the game next week. And then we'll moan about how many times we had to give him one crate. And then you can see where this just keeps going. It just keeps perpetuating itself. Yeah. And when the staff, the current staff spread is not reflecting the people that are in our care, we continuously are banging our heads against the wall, unfortunately. Another little tool that I use, stolen from the education sector. He naru. Naru means wave, everybody. Everybody say naru. Naru. Good pronunciation. So, this is about perspectives. Yeah, we all have different perspectives. So we might be one or two people on this little picture, and that's our perspective of the wave. How important is the wave to us? Do we even see the wave, or do we just hear about the wave? Or if I'm in the helicopter, I can see 10 waves, so that one wave's actually not that kind of important. You get me? Perspective. That's often where I start. And then a nice little, because I'm the Māori guy, throw in te tiriti o Waitangi. Everybody say tiriti. Yes, we know the Treaty of Waitangi, I'm sure. I'll let you do the karaoke PowerPoint by yourself. But this kind of just outlines different perspectives on the Treaty of Waitangi. The lady standing up on the hill, for example, I see racism, I see child abuse, I see the Treaty of Waitangi, I see, because she can see more than one wave. Yeah. The person perhaps sitting behind the hill there in front of that harakeke bush, I think it is, I can hear all this commotion about the treaty, but I don't really know what's going on. Oh, look, I'm up to 10 minutes. How many slides have I got left? Moving right along. You get my drift though, eh? The person by the waterhole knows that the water rises and falls when treaty stuff happens, but not entirely connected. Yeah? How do we bring a team, how do we bring a unit, a prison, a management team together, knowing that all of those perspectives exist at the table? Through knowledge, maramatanga means understanding. Think marama the moon, that's light. When you're in the world of light, you're in the world of understanding. So why is it, this is my question to the people that I work with, if we were to employ Erika, poor Erika's getting picked on, how long would it take before we expect her to be IT savvy in the role that I've just employed her for? What do you reckon? A couple of months? 2 months? Any no, I take longer than that. No 2-year people out there. Erika's like, don't pick on me. Let's say anywhere between 2 months and 18 months. So when it comes to pronouncing names correctly, pronouncing Māori building names or team names correctly, or Māori positions correctly, or pronouncing the iwi and mana whenua correctly, do we give this new staff member 2 months or 18 months, or do we let them stay in a position for 20 years? And it's not an expectation. And that's me just talking about pronunciation. That's not me talking about equity pedagogy. That's not me talking about ensuring that there's a diverse representation in your team that you're leading. That's not me talking about recruitment strategies that continue to marginalise Māori today. That's not me talking about reports that go to judges that are convincing them to put Māori in prison because there's too many people living in a house. I grew up in a house with 16 other people, 3-bedroom house, 16 people, aunties, uncles, grandmother, cousins, brothers, sisters. I turned out okay. There's nothing wrong with too many people in one house. My father's got a criminal record. Uncle went to jail for robbery. I lived in a house with them. I'm okay, I don't have a criminal record. So, what's our thinking? That lens, worldview. So, knowledge. What's the dream? This is the dream. Anybody been to Waitangi? I come from Waitangi up Ngāpuhi, 3 of the Northland tribes, just reminding you. This little place here is beautiful because there's 2 houses that sit in harmony on a beautiful hill overlooking the beautiful Bay of Islands. And one day we might live in a bicultural society like that. Here's another example. This little picture means so much to me as a Māori. I don't know if it means a lot to you, but that is what I think when I think about what New Zealand can be. Leadership, ego versus mana. So I spend a lot of my time, 2 things. 1, convincing the current leadership, who unfortunately are pale, stale and male, on how we can do things better. And then I also spend some time encouraging Māori to become leaders. Yeah? So I talked about 22% of our staff are Māori. There is an 18% pay disparity between Māori and the roles that they are employed in. There is not representation of Māori at any tier in a 50% ratio. So if we're not going to employ 56% staff Māori, how about we employ 56% of our staff that have a disposition towards Māori, or have an understanding for cultural diversity, or are culturally responsive, or how about we employ Māori, at the management tier, how about we have 50% Māori representation there, and not worry about everywhere else, just so that that can filter down nicely into the rest of the system. These are the types of questions that I'm throwing at our leadership. We talk about ego versus mana in the prison system. You could imagine, think army back in the day, police are similar, corrections is much the same. There's an ego approach to the leadership, and we are obviously advocating for mana enhancing processes. Along the line where I'm promoting Māori leadership, this is a beautiful little poem that I found on Facebook that nobody knows where it came from. We don't know who wrote it, but it is very cool. It's cool for me because I know all of those people. Dream like Tāwhiao, lead like Whina, fight like Eva, think like Moana Che, Right like Rangi, we're getting teary here. Build like kawatis from Northland. Speak like Apirana, educate like Katerina Mataira, believe like Te Whiti, and challenge like Te Puia. Koe anō, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou.